I always see that joke meme about can we turn America off and then turn it back on and see if we can, get it going again. But I don't think, again, and you've talked about the history of America when it's steeped, unfortunately, with violence and with colonialism and imperialism, and with that kind of karmic past, with that kind of like deep kind of divide, if you will, of class as well. It's hard. And what's happened is we've gone into crony capitalism, and crony capitalism is not a fun thing to live through. Plus, you heard me at the top of the hour talk about about the cost of living and how it's 169% more expensive to live in America than Russia. Believe me, Diane, I notice it because I'm working for, TNT, right, which is a normal wage. It goes so much further, right? I work for RT as well, and as a contributor. And again, it's night and day. I didn't even realize. It's kind of like you're a frog in boiling water, and then you get out and you're like, whoa, okay, I didn't realize it was bad.
No, exactly. I think, look, people's demands are too low. They just want to not have their property taxes get increased or something, as opposed to thinking the way we really should be living. But I want to go back because I actually think I disagree with something you said about the United States. And I think it's a really good point of discussion. And I'm really glad that you said it, which is that our past was not colonial. In other words, the whole point of the American Revolution was to end empire. And the founding fathers, by and large, whether it's Ben Franklin, Alexander Hamilton, Gouverneur Morris, John Jay, also were vehemently opposed to slavery. Our nation was not built on slavery because you can't, it's a dead end.
But Diane, look what we did to the Native Americans.
The Jesuits, the intent of the people I just named was schools, integration, literacy, the Cherokee language, the written language, and then you had Andrew Jackson, right, a total British agent who did the Trail of Tears. So in other words, there was a real intent also to get rid of slavery. People knew that it would have to come to a head, and the British and others, I just read a fascinating paper on their efforts to massively ship slaves here, particularly to North Carolina, as a way of creating a kind of dependence on this and destroying our ability to represent what we should have been representing, which was the intention, if you go back to Leibniz or Joan of Arc, or really where it goes back to. So you're living in a world dominated by empire, dominated by the British Empire, and people say, no, man is dignified, man is worthy of self-government. Someone that I did a symposium with had letters from Alexander Hamilton, one letter where he said the intelligence of the Negro is equal to ours. That was his firm belief. And he vehemently opposed slavery, but it was complex to get out from under it. And there was always an internal fight of these Brahmin imperial, like Boston. They got a huge foothold in Boston, this treason faction, and in the South. And then we had the so-called Civil War, which in effect really wasn't a civil war. It was like a continuation of the American Revolution with Lincoln and his, the people who wanted a republic and the people who wanted us to be a colony and continue just producing cotton and raw materials. So in that sense, if you look at the leadership our nation has produced, people who had that intention, Lincoln, John Quincy Adams, Martin Luther King, who was a real American, Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, right? There's that. And then there is this treason, what I would call a treason faction. I suppose Andrew Jackson considered himself American. I consider him a traitor, right? And unfortunately today, people don't read original documents. I've met very few people who've read Alexander Hamilton's papers, or who have a real sense of the kind of battles going on in our republic, who know the background of Aaron Burr and what went on between him and Hamilton, really. How did Aaron Burr become vice president? And we were just talking today with actually an official, former elected official in New York, about Aaron Burr and his fake water company, which became Chase Bank. I mean, it's so much like exactly the fight that's going on today. And I think if our young people had a better sense of the total drama, they could recognize what they have to be fighting for now. Are you a Tory? Are you for the British imperialist system? Or are you a person, a revolutionary? The idea that really all people are created equal, and we have to have a nation based on that, and our relationship to the world has to be based on that. That famous quote from Kennedy's first inaugural, which everyone doesn't say the whole thing, which is not, don't ask what your nation can do for you, but what you can do for your nation, and what we together, and he said, don't ask what America can do for you, but ask what we together can do for mankind. That's somehow, no, yes, we are responsible. We're responsible for what happens to the human race. And yes, we do have to take a large share of responsibility. That's why I joined LaRouche, because I realized as an American citizen, we have so much power. We are so responsible for what happens in the world that if horrible things happen, we have to own up and say that we're responsible for that.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. And I really like it.